Hello, everyone. Soon we are going to start our lecture. I can see that there are already three of you present, so let's wait a couple of more minutes. Okay, so before we begin, let me ask you how you are doing. Just send a smiley if you are okay. Good morning. Wonderful. Now it's 9 a.m., so let's wait 1 or 2 minutes more, and then we are going to start with today's topic, which is sharing economy. So today's topic is sharing economy. Type that down. Okay. So let me begin by asking you if you have heard about the term sharing economy. Have you heard about the term sharing economy? Okay, so we are going to learn something new today. We know the term economy, and we are also familiar with the expression sharing. So now we are going to combine it to find a new phenomena that is related to economical issues and new media, digital technology as well. Uh, if I say Uber, Air, B, and B, I think that you can put this into perspective. So sharing economy is an economy that is based on online communities, on online media, and I have here an article I'm going to present today. What I'm putting here is on Google Scholar, Google Classroom as well. Sharing economy. Here it is, and here it is again. This is the one of the articles we are going to discuss today. So, sharing economy is a relatively new term, and it occurred somewhere in the middle of 2010s, maybe 2013, 2014, where platforms such as Airbnb and Uber uh, were experiencing explosive growth. And suddenly they came into the news thanks to some regulations and political battles. So the technology behind a sharing economy is quite simple. It's based on users. It's based on users' activity and mostly the things we do in new media, in social media. So previously, if we wanted to call a cab, a taxi, we would have to make a phone call. Still, we do that in Hungary, or we would have to uh, pay a lot for the fare for the ride. But Uber has changed the things how we call a taxi, how we commute, how we travel, how we use some services. So what they do is that they through an application connect the consumers, the travelers, with the drivers who are not professionals. So we have technology in our hands, and after the ride, the fare is paid automatically. We don't have to give any cash. We don't have to take our card out. Also, what is really related to new media is the system of grading and giving marks or stars to drivers and passengers both. So basically, it means that what we learn in online media, how we can somehow relate to some post by giving likes, dislikes, smiling faces, astonished faces, and so on. That is what we do nowadays in a case of sharing economy. So those who are newcomers, our topic for today is the sharing economy, and we are going to see how it is really related to new media. And I know because some of you study some business sciences, so it can be really useful for you to deal with both economical issues and technological issues of sharing economy. So this is Uber. We also have Airbnb, which when it started in 2014 was something new and amazing, and I was really amazed, and I expected to see a huge change how people act like tourists, how they travel, and how they actually rent apartments or rooms. Nowadays we can see that it is not really clear whether Airbnb is a positive thing or not. It's a positive thing for travelers who don't want to spend nights in expensive hotels. It's not really a positive thing for the neighbors who have to suffer from noise that is made generated by those who rent a flat only for one day and party there. But the general idea was in sharing economy, if you have something to share, first of all, a car, then a flat, later, knowledge, food, and so on, you can do it using new media, using the techniques of new media, something you have learned to do in your normal life. So you can see that the official channels which you would use to rent a room or to rent a car are not working anymore. Instead of renting a car with Avis, for example, you can do it by Lyft or Relay Rides. If you have a car that is not being used during the week, you just enter the system, small mobile devices installed in your car, and using new media technologies and techniques, people can rent your car and you will get it back on the weekend and you will earn some or sometimes a huge amount of money by doing so. It's not clear if this is a good thing on the long run. But first, it was said that sharing economy is helping the environment. It's fighting the environmental changes. How so? Uh, for example, if you are traveling alone in your car, the emission from your car is the same as if you were traveling three or four of you. In Hungary, there is a service, a ride sharing service called Oscar. Oscar or BlaBlaCar, as you know. Do you know BlaBlaCar? Blah blah car. Are you familiar with BlaBlaCar? Mhm. That's right. That's right. Thank you. So the general idea is to use new media technologies, to use applications, to use smartphones, and as Mike mentioned, Bolt is the later version of Uber, and it's also a part of sharing economy because here you rate the drivers, the passengers, and so on. So, and you can order a taxi using social media. You don't have to step up out from your life, from your social media, new media practices. You stay inside and you order a cab there. Also, new media is about reviews and sharing opinions. And what's really important here is that a flat that is rented receives some comments, and a lot of opinions are shared about it. It's similar to your Facebook activity, where when you read your article, you can comment, you can write reviews. Or, for example, nowadays, what's really popular is that it's really difficult for us to order any vegetables, fresh vegetables or fruits. So what's the deal is that we are searching for ways of finding that online, and people they share their opinions, people there share their knowledge, their experiences, so you can find out how you can order some vegetables, or in our case we ordered a lot of cheese because we don't want to move out from our apartments. It's not really safe yet to do so. So the way how sharing economy works is more or less similar as we have described. Uh, Sharing economy is basically a powerful tool for building a social movement centered on real practices of sharing and cooperation in the production and consumption of goods and services. So, how does it really work? First of all, we need the technology. We need the platforms because we have the peer-to-peer network in here. Peers are those people who have apartments to lend, who have cars that they don't use, and so on. Uh, there are, for example, some initiatives like tool libraries. If you have a drill, you drill with, right? Or you have any kind of power tools you don't really use on daily basis. I'm pretty sure this is the case. Then you can share them with the others. Or there are some repair collectives if you need to have something repaired, or if you have some food that is left over, leftover swap, for example, or you have a huge party and you have 5 or 6 pizzas left. So you put it on an app and ask if someone is interested in, and they can take it for free. And next time, maybe if you need something, you can get it back. So this is not communism. What I'm talking about is socialism, but this is just common sense that we don't have to waste our resources and goods and money. But what provides the security inside sharing economy and what really builds social trust is new media. New media services that I already explained when you rate a seller, for example. I'm pretty sure you have all ordered from AliExpress, for example. AliExpress. So what you do there is you give stars, right? If I'm correct, I'm searching for my star sign in here, but I'm not really sure that I will be able to find it. So what you do there is you give some ratings, and you do the same in social economy. On Facebook, you can rate some services. If you have been to a coffee shop, if you have been to a dentist, I have to go soon, unfortunately. But what's different in case of sharing economy is that there are well, several types of sharing economy. First, it was Zipcar, or you have bicycle sharing services. Some say that sharing economy is based on the goods, on the stuff you have, that peers have, that civilians have, population has, and not what is offered by companies. But in Budapest, for example, uh, sharing economy can be, well, quite wide phenomena. For example, we have this booby, the bicycle ride. You can lend some bicycles. Or, for example, we have the couch surfing, where you don't actually pay any money for staying on someone's couch. Rather, you just give in return your flat as well. I'm not pretty sure this is the safest way to travel, but a lot of people they prefer that. Even in Budapest, there are some couch surfing meetings where people who use couch surfing meet. So they're expats or just travelers, and they meet and they share their experiences. So there are a lot of things which you can share. For example, you can share books. In Hungary, there is a movement, put a book, take a book. So this is kind of book sharing service. Or you can, for example, join the group, share some sugar or neighbor goods. Uh, this is something that is relatively new, and mostly it's well supported by new media. If we have to characterize or make some kind of taxonomy of sharing economy, we would say that the orientation matters and type of provider. For example, if a provider is like a business, and it wants to make some money, so it's for profit, then Zipcar or for example, what you mentioned, Bolt is a great example. But if provider is a business and it's well non-profit, then it's not so typical. It's, for example, maker spaces. What's more interesting is if it is a for-profit thing, but it's a peer-to-peer thing as well. So you own the car, you own the flat, and so on. Then we can say that Uber or Airbnb are the best examples of this. And also, if it's a peer-to-peer thing and it's not for profit, then it can be food swaps when you can give your leftovers, or it can be ResearchGate, what is a website for scientific publications, and people they can share their publications there, and they don't have to pay anything for that. And in return, you can see what others are sharing as well. Uh, there are some other types of sharing economy, or actually what are related, some expressions. Maybe you have heard about it: on demand economy. On demand, for example, video on demand. Netflix is a video on demand service. Netflix is not a sharing economy example, but the on demand economy, it means that everything is about access, right? If you need immediately something, you need immediately car, or you need immediately a room, then this is called on-demand economy. And what's more interesting, that Uber's pricing depends on how much people want to take a ride at that exact moment. So it depends on the needs. This is basically capitalism one on one. So that's why it's called demand economy, or economy on demand. Can be illustrated by Airbnb as well, because if there is a popular flat on Hawaii, for example, or in some expensive part of New York, Manhattan, or Paris, then it will cost more, and during the season it will cost much more. There are going to be some daily prices. Once again, uh, daily prices, crazy, right? So this is what we call on-demand economy. What's also interesting is that sometimes it is called second-hand economy as well. Why? Because it's not about selling new goods. It's about sharing what you already have. This is where the, well, environmental friendly thinking comes in, because second-hand economy means that you won't left your car just to rest on the street. Instead, others they can use it, and they don't have to buy their own cars. So maybe this works. Also, it's called product service economy, because mostly it's based on products and services. Also, what's important to know about um, sharing economy is that nowadays it's changing a bit. It's not something people they don't know. People they know it anyway, and there is a huge demand for things uh, in case of sharing economy. So this was basically the idea I wanted to talk about. So sharing economy is something that's really popular. You have to pay attention, and I would recommend you to follow the issues of sharing economy. So I would like to ask if you wish to have like a 10 or 15-minute session on Zoom just to see each other and to say hello, and if you have any questions regarding the lecture or grading and so on. So my question is a Zoom meeting, just a short one. It's not obligatory with those who wish to share their themselves. They can do so. Would you like now to participate in a Zoom meeting? Okay, we have one okay. Okay, we have one no. Okay. If not, I will continue the lecture, but you have to know that there is always a chance to have a Zoom meeting where we can discuss anything that you wish. Okay, so let's go further with sharing economy, and let's see what are the driving forces behind it. So the first force is a technological one. In these previous 10 years, we have seen the growth of e-commerce transforming completely the consumer's relationships, and the technologies have made it easy for large networks of people and organizations to transact directly. Uh, what is the technology behind sharing economy? First of all, low cost of smartphones, low cost of computers, and also the spread of social media. We have been ordering goods online for years now, so why don't we form any groups that used to be formed 20, 30, or 40 years ago? Uh, we call info communication technologies disruptive technologies. What it means that they completely changed the ways how we used to think about uh, society, culture, and so on. 30 years ago, it was quite popular to go to a market. It was popular for everyone to know the sellers and to establish links, network connections with them. And then came internet and disrupted this way. Suddenly we started spending more time online. We started ordering goods from the web shops we actually have never been to. So sharing economy is changing back a bit ways of trading goods and buying goods and sharing goods, because now again we in a way start to learn about people we are dealing with. It means that you will read some reviews about apartments that are shared, about drivers that are going to take you. We started to use Google Maps. So why don't our share rides use Google Maps as well? This is the general idea of Uber, for example. You can see where the car that is going to take you is. If you are interested in the flat, you see where it is. You even see the person who is lending that to you. If you deal with the hotel, there's no kind of social media, social interaction involved. There's going to be a receptionist who is going to write you a letter of confirmation, ask you whether you're coming by car or you're coming late, and that's it. In this case, we use social media, we use new media to interact. So this is the technology behind sharing economy. Also, for example, there is an expression called social commerce, and this is the notion that commerce is facilitated by social networking. So once again, new media. And people are more likely to buy products because of the social influence exerted by peers on purchasing decisions. So we can see how strong influence the social media has on our lives. So why not using it uh, on commerce? There was a company called Groupon, which used to give out coupons to a huge group of people. And it's not basically sharing economy, but it's a kind of sharing economy, because in Hungary we had these companies where, for example, huge amount of stuff would be shared, and if enough people would buy it, then it would become cheaper. Also, we have some economical drivers. For example, certain companies allow people to use the same resources but share the fixed costs of doing so by sharing them. For example, Airbnb or is using cleaners that are getting new jobs and so on. What we have also here is the trends of urban lifestyles. Now nowadays people they organize their lives mostly on information technology. I'm talking about young people. So Airbnb has realized that they can take advantage of people who had space they aren't using and rent it out at cheaper costs to the people who are staying just a short amount of time, and they're using internet for doing so. Uh, but I think that it's also interesting to talk about in a way of collaborative consumption. It means that we are actually buying things together, and it becomes much cheaper. So what are the numbers behind that? In European Union, for example, and I have the data of 2015, the sharing economy has produced in five sectors: sales of goods, accommodation, rentals, goods sharing, odd jobs, and ride sharing, totaled some 28 billion euros. 28 billion euros. Even in China, there is some kind of sharing economy, and they are actually producing $500 billion. So I think this was basically the wrap up, the sum of sharing economy, and let's see some advantages or benefits. I already mentioned reducing the carbon footprint. So it can cut down the industry pollution, for example. What's really important is, secondly, that it can strengthen communities. Communities can become much stronger. How so? Uh, you will actually interact with real people, you will get to know them, and you will establish relations. Uh, Also, you can save some money by borrowing or recycling items. Buying used clothes isn't really sharing economy in real sense, but it's really related to it. So it means also increased independence, or for example, increased quality of services, uh, because they are being rated all the time. They got bad reviews if they don't provide, right? So basically, these are the benefits, and this is all based on new media, right? So it also brings, for example, flexible work hours. Drivers, they can decide when they want to drive. Lower barriers to entry. If you want to become a taxi driver, you need a special driver's license, you need trainings, and you need to pay for expensive license as well. You don't need that to drive an Uber. Also, it can break some monopolies, mostly in developing countries. For example, in Africa, uh, Airbnb has brought much lower prices, and it has enabled people to become self-employed. So it can charge on party, for example. Criticism. Uh, there are some jobs that are lost due to the sharing economy. For example, professional taxi drivers, people who work in hotels, and so on. Also, it can become much more expensive to rent a flat for a longer period of time, because if people they just rent flats for 1 or 2 days, then it makes more sense that if you can make more money by renting your flat for short time periods, and you're good with social media, you can interact with people who want to come and rent your flat, then you don't want to rent it for half of the price, even though you know that it will run for a longer time period. So this is also actually a disadvantage. What else? Uh, Well, also the treatment of workers has changed because they suddenly become independent contractors. They're not employees anymore. So until there is a huge demand for cars, the Uber drivers can really be happy, and they can earn a lot of money. But if there are not enough passengers, then suddenly they won't earn the same amount. So, so what is also difficult is that companies like Airbnb and Uber, they don't share their reputation data with the very users to whom it belongs. So basically, it doesn't matter how well people behave on any platform, their reputation doesn't transfer to other platforms. It's interesting that you have to establish your reputation on new media on each and every platform separately. So I think this has to change as well. I think that maybe this rounds up our session about sharing economy. This is also one of the issues, one of the topics I explained. And regarding the essay, how you can get your grades, there is going to be no presentation. You just have to hand in an essay on the topics we have discussed or on the topics that are in the syllabus. So please choose one topic and find something that's a bit new, something we would find interesting in case of new media, and write an essay about it. Usually the essay is not more, or it's around 8,000 characters, maybe less. Let's make it 7,000 characters essay. If it's too long, just I can bargain with you if you think that the essay is too long, 7,000 characters. Let's think it through. And what's also important, to put some references. Use some references. So do you have any questions? It was great again to see you all. Let me know if you wish to have in the future a class where we can, like, for 10 or 15 minutes turn on Zoom. If not, I'm going to continue these YouTube live sessions. Is it okay if the lectures are on YouTube live? Is okay? Is YouTube live okay for you? Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to share this lecture as well. It was great to see you comment so much, being so interactive once again. Please take care, stay safe, and these hardships are going to stop. So thank you. Goodbye.